My people, welcome to the Jamaica Young Police Channel. We're an experienced detective of the Jamaica Constabulary Force who's about to educate you with facts and not propaganda or hyperbole for the government or its minion. I'm not here to support criminals or their supporters. I do believe that criminals must live in fear for their lives and not the law abiding citizens. So today is November 29, 2021, and we in the diaspora have been seeing the rounds of the current Prime Minister, St. Andrew Holiness, the Holy One, the Chosen One, who have given a speech yesterday talking about taming the monster, crime, the criminals that's in Jamaica. Uh, the speech is optimistic, but I doubt that it will be followed through by him because you have to understand that we are a society where corruption is rampant. You understand? The genes that flow within the black people's vein are from the pirates. And remember that the pirates are Europeans, and they were the one that who were in control of Jamaica during the 17th century. So that blood, that genes is flowing through the Jamaican people bloodstream. So corruption is second and like breathing. You understand? So I've been hearing even former police officers you know, comparing St. Andrew Holiness to the late Edward Seaga. Not in a complimentary way, but in a way that to demagogue him, not him, St. Andrew Holiness. 'Cause I am not here to prop him up or anything like that, because as you know that I'm a strong critics of both political party. But, you know, the demeaning things that they have said about Edward Seaga. I'm not saying that this man was an angel or anything like that. But if you're trying to compare both men, you're comparing sour orange to neighbor fruit. And you're supposed to know which one of them you would rather to eat, whether it's the sour orange or the neighbor fruit. And I'm not going to tell you who's the sour orange or who's the neighbor fruit. You have to try and figure that out for yourself. You understand? But you must remember that Jamaicans on a whole are very violent people. Yes, I want to say violent because I myself, is a Jamaican. I was born and raised in Jamaica. But the thing is that I know how to control myself. But Jamaican, because especially the people who are illiterate, the thing that why we have such an alarming crime rate is that our people, there's a thing called ego, where people feel that you must respect them more than you respect yourself. So you must pay homage to them as if they are some king or some mini god. That's all you understand. So based on if you don't show that kind of reference to them, people will kill you. And just a simple stepping on someone's shoes, they will kill you. Because that's illiteracy at its best. Because someone who can read and decipher things to know that if someone step on their shoes and just say sorry, you know that it was a mistake, but not in Jamaican culture. You understand? In which the culture itself is pretty much being eradicated right now. Jamaican culture is on a genocidal scale. It's on a genocidal path to destruction. But I am not here to talk about that, as you know, today. You understand? You know, we are here to talk about the man who make us sleep with our windows and door open at night. Yes, man, the most hated man by the Jamaican people. You understand? The best Prime Minister of Jamaica who make us sleep with our windows and doors open at night. And I am here to tell you that. And yet still, he's the most hated man by the Jamaican people. Two of the reasons why they hated him. Well, I should say there are so many reasons. That the man is super intelligent, he's well educated, and the most important thing to them why they hated him, he's not black. Can you believe it? But yet still in Jamaica culture, and you have to understand that most Jamaican people do not want any black people in their family. And the reason being, Most of them don't even know where that comes from. And the reason why most Jamaican families says that they do not want any black people in their family, it goes all the way back to slavery. You understand? My mother, father, who's my grandfather, he was able, when he was growing up as a little boy, he was able to have conversation with people in his family who were slaves. And the reason being why black people don't want black people in their family is because of what the Maroons did to the slaves. You understand? That's one of the reasons why black people say they don't want black people in their family. Because as what my grandfather had said, that it was seeing black people when the black people were brought to Jamaica and escaped from the plantation. It was the same black people who captured them and returned them to the Maroons. So that's the reason why in Jamaica culture they say they don't want the black people in their family. But most black people don't you would think that is because of prejudice or discrimination or self-hatred. It's because of what of the betrayal of the black people by black people in Jamaica, and that's why it happened. You understand? So, but I'll elaborate on that some other time. So, the late Mesa Edward Seaga was Prime Minister of Jamaica from November 1st, 1980 to February 10th, 1989. In 1989, the PMP LGBTQ plus party won the general election and formed a new government under the leadership of the late charismatic leader Michael Manley, the man who wanted to be Prime Minister or President for life of Jamaica. Do you know the first law that the PMP government repealed and signed into law when they took over the government of Jamaica in February 1989? It was the Suppression of Crime Act that the late Edward Seaga had on the books that made criminals live in fear for their lives and the citizens could live in peace, tranquility, and feeling safe knowing that the government was there to protect them. That's the law that the PMP got rid of in 1989. You understand? Can you believe that some of the same people who are living right now in Jonestown and Arnett Garden, Kingston 12, wish that the late Edward Seaga was Prime Minister in 2021 because he made them feel safe. Yes, I wanted to listen, people who are from predominantly PMP community, you understand, in the corporate area. Because you have to remember that 90% of the Kingston metropolitan area are PMP community. That's the birth of criminality, gunman culture, murdering people. It's not it's the murdering of people with guns did not born in Tivoli and Rima. It born in Jonestown. That's where it's born in PMP community, Jonestown, because Mike and it spread because Michael Manley wanted Kingston metropolitan area to be predominantly PMP community. So that's if you notice, and those who can think, and most Jamaican people cannot think, because they are ideologues or political acolytes. If you look on the dynamics of what happened in Kingston, majority of Kingston, 90% of Kingston is PMP community. I'm not talking about Uptown, I'm talking about Kingston, where the poor, the undesirable, the low IQ, the illiterates, the thieves, you understand what I'm saying? Those who believe in government handout, they don't believe to fend for themselves. They believe that if whatever you have, you are to share it with them. If you have two, you must give them one, and if not, you must dead. As the that idiot from out by Mountain View said that we live in the Jamaican people live in their sphere, so they must pay to live or else gunshot. And those are the people that Amnesty International and Jamaican for Justice, those are the people that they are there to protect, to make sure that they can create havoc and terrorize the people. You understand? You know, and the culture keep changing because these people they're living in constant fear of the gunmen who can do as they like to their little girls, who have they who have to send these young girls to gunmen, to these gunmen, to have unprotected sex with them, impregnate them, and they do whatever they want. If not, the gunmen they will kill the little girl or and their family members because that's how it is in Jamaica. And you have seen it like 3 years ago in Angola in jungle, where a little girl attending a prominent school uptown, and because gunmen wanted to have sex with her, and the mother refused, and the little girl refused, they killed her in her bed. And the same people in the community, they supported the person who murdered the little girl because they want to have sex with her, and she refuses, and her mother was totally against it. But back in the 1980s, that would not be condoned by people in jungle because that same man who killed that girl, if it was like in 1986 when we had three men who were raping women in Arnett Garden and Jonestown, and these three men were caught, killed, and they were tagged and thrown in the gully along Coliseum Drive in 1986. You understand? So you see how time changed. So now things that were taboo, it's acceptable now. You understand? So the culture, it keep changing. You know, most Jamaicans hated the late Edward Seaga because he was a man who believed in law and order. Yes, and I know some people, yeah, but him have people at Tivoli and this and that, and you have to understand. Most people cannot think, and if you can think independently and analyze what happened then, you will realize why he had to create a Tivoli. I am not making any excuse for him or what he has done because the problem did not start by him. It started by the late Michael Manley and the PNP. I'm talking about my experience and from what I have seen. They are the ones who were issuing guns. They are the ones who sent 1,000 young men to Cuba to train as brigadiers and combat. These people didn't return to Jamaica to impart any trade that they have learned to build the Jamaican society to make it a better place. We didn't come back and have any engineers or anything like that, or any influential people who help our young men to help themselves to be independent. You understand? We brought back what they did, send men to Cuba to train to come back and terrorize Jamaican people. Over 1,000 of them. You understand? Some of them are alive. Some of them are even served within the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Yes, because remember that even the Home Guard, the Home Guards were a part of Michael Manley's tragedy to hold on to power. But you see, Jamaican people, they're illiterate and licky. They do not realize what was being done then. It was the same, what he did in the 1970s, the same, from the same playbook of the Nazis. Jamaican people do not read, So when you tell them things, they are so illiterate that all they do is grasp on what they are told. They don't read. You understand? So as for me, because I can read and I decipher things, and then when I say it now, the first thing that they do, they start to leave, oh, you're a laborer. And as for me, I don't care because I am neither laborer nor PMP. I'm just speaking the facts. Because if you live in a society, you want to feel safe, right? It doesn't matter who make you safe. You understand? It's just like right now, even in Capburnton. A lot of people around Capburnton wish that Mantique was still alive. They call him Tuba because although he was a done, he made the people them safe because he would prevent the men them from back to and all those other places and coming there and break people and rape them, rape. You understand? After he died and everything go AY. So that's how it is. You understand what I'm saying? The criminals and the supporters hated the late Edward Seaga because his policies. Even a majority of members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, about 99% of the members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force hated Edward Seaga. One, because he was not black. That's the main thing. But yet still, the same people who hated the man because he was not black. They did not want any black people in their family. You understand? Because of what they were told. But the people who told them not to bring any people to them in their family did not tell them where to originate from. It is something that they were told and it parted to them and it's socialized so they pass it on. But they don't tell them where it originates from. You understand? Its origins. So that's how Jamaican people are. You just tell them something, they bite and they run with it hook, line and sinker. They don't try to research and find out for themselves where that comes from. You understand? But as I said, they just keep the people illiterate to control their minds. You understand? So 99% of the members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force back then, even right now, they are 99% LGBTQ supporters. So most are police members of the police force. They are PMP supporters. Reason be because they are from country, rural part of Jamaica. They are, poor farmers and stuff like that. And because they don't read and they cannot read, used to have a TV, a station, government-owned station called JBC in the 70s. So it would feed the people them, that all their ills that they're experiencing while they live in rural Jamaica and they did not have running water and stuff like that. They would blame the people up the people who are not legislators, You understand? The people who are middle class or rich people, they would blame those people for their um, suffering in life, in which all they have to do is work hard. They don't want to work hard. They feel that the government is supposed to give them things. So they pass that on to their children. So their children, when they join the police force, is the same attitude. You understand? So some of them, even although they are police, they become a part of the criminal network. You understand? One of my reasons for naming Edward Seaga as the best prime minister of Jamaica when it comes to crime fighting is that he was unafraid of tackling the monster head on, with fire, with head on, with fire, fighting fire. Not only did he make us Jamaican saves during his time as prime minister, but he never enacted any or signed any anti-police law that persecute the police force and its members. I want you to listen to me this part. Let me repeat it. Most police hates Edward Seaga, but yet still, this man, who all of them, a majority of the police force hate this man have never enacted any law or signed any law that affect the police force itself or its member. Not one. Everything that he has done during his time was to protect the police. You understand? Everything. He has never ever speak ill about the police publicly. Not that I have known of. You understand? Because I born and grew in Jamaica and I lived there. You understand? Until I'm an adult and I've experienced his tenure as prime minister. And that was the best time for me in Jamaica, feeling safe. My sisters, my mother, my father, you understand? Irrespective of one political beliefs. The truth is the truth. Jamaican people are inherently, it's genetic to be depraved mind and ignore their conscience. Jamaican people are biased, Jamaican people are illiterate, and Jamaican people are narcissistic people. Very rare you'll find a Jamaican who's honest. And to be frank, I am not being discriminative right here, right now. But I want to tell you that the truth is that, and I don't want anybody to say it's because of my father and all of that. But I want to tell you that the fairer skinned people in Jamaica, they are more honest than the black people in Jamaica. Yes, I am saying that. The fairer skinned people. I knew every time you're supposed to hear. I I've known a lot of people, black, white, and all kind of people. But you know what? The two best Jamaicans that I've ever dealt with in all my life in Jamaica are two white men. One of them died a few years ago, and the other one is still alive. Reason being why I say that, honestly, these are people who help the same poor people in my police area. You understand what I'm saying? And they believe in education. And you would never heard that these people would be giving gunmen anything or anything like that. They know to communicate with people. You understand? And they would never tell you to do anything that is immoral. Can you believe that you have people, because they know that police officers do not get good pay, and they would say to me that if you are tempted to do something that is abnormal, it's best for you to come to us and tell us, and we will take care of it. You would never find a black person who would tell you that. So I have to respect those. I have to respect those men to this day. You understand? Because that's how it is. So if you want to say that it's because I am more appreciative of the people who have the same complexion or ear sticks as my father, that is your business. So be it. I don't care. But I am just talking from my personal experience. You understand? You know, the police, right through the years, they hated this man. You understand? Edward Seaga. Police hated him. All because, um, they demagogue him, through the years that but he was the man who wanted the best for the Jamaican people, in my from based on what I have seen. I am willing to take correction from anyone, not with propaganda, but with facts. You understand? He has never, ever signed any anti police laws that persecute the police force and its members. So imagine you have a man who is prime minister. 10% of the Kingston metropolitan area where criminality, the birth of criminality and the rise and its promotion of it is within the Kingston metropolitan area. And yet still, when he was prime minister, he had never used the security force to attack at the 90% are the people who support the other party. Never. Because at no time he never used the military and the police force to come on, because you know that jungle, Arnett Garden, you understand, Zimbabwe, all those places within jungle are PMP community, and he have never used the military or the police force and surround those community and for political gains. He did not do that, but his predecessor did that to his constituents. You understand, and to his people. If it was for him, for Edward Seaga, the police force would have Indicom agency, the act itself from the Coral District shooting, Clarendon, when Renita Adams and some of his men killed um, unarmed civilian in Clarendon. But you know, some police is gonna be upset, but that's how it is, you know. I see me, the truth is the truth because this is it. If you come from country and stuff like that, it doesn't matter. You're supposed to have, you know, Jamaican people, country people used to have more morals than Kingstonian. You know. As I remember growing up, my grandfather, my grandfather never liked anybody from town. Period. If I come from town, because all him say about town people are criminal and gunman and thief, and so he never wanted. Is not even his grandchildren around them. You understand? But now everything is different. If you do not believe me, research it, and you will see that the former commissioner of police, Francis Forbes, was supporting the act, the Indicom Act, but it was Seaga why the law never gained any energy or life in Jamaica, Parliament and the Senate. So the man that the Jamaican police hated, you know, he's the man, you know, who had stopped why we never have Indicom Act from PJ Patterson was Prime Minister. Because you have to understand that everything that to persecute the police, it started from when PJ Patterson become Prime Minister. The most thieving, the most corrupted Prime Minister we ever had then. You understand? I am talking about my time in Jamaica, not from what I am reading now. So I am talking about then. So if it wasn't for Sierra, the police would have Indicom up long time. The first one was the public's account, where you know you have to go and report to the civilian body. You understand what I'm saying? It was PJ Patterson. He just keep enacting different agency until they reach where they reach. You understand? But a majority of the police force members, which are mostly country people, they did not like this man because he was not into the socialist thing, making people depend on the government for everything. You know, Jamaican people are licky people and them not like work, them lazy. You understand? Everything them want government, a government are them problem. You're supposed to fix it yourself and them thing. Don't look to the government. You understand? When the PMP LGBTQ plus party repealed the law, they celebrated it because it weakened the police force and strengthened the criminals who did not have a wide array of lobby groups lobbying on their behalf to the parliamentarians. The PMP LGBTQ plus party has shown time and time again that they are in love with the gunmen and not the civilians. You understand? If you do not believe me and you are in my age bracket, you would have known that the PMP from 1989 until Bruce Golding, the other crook who won election, they never hung not one murderer at district prison in Spanish Town. Reason being, because 99.9% of the people who are in prison were people who are PMP supporters. So they are the real murderers in Jamaica. You understand? Majority of the people that they hang from hanging start were people who are more culturally aligned to the PMP party. You understand? I am not saying that people from the Labour Party are not murderers too. I'm just talking about who was convicted, the majority of them who were convicted and in district prison supposed to be hanged. These are people who have the socialistic thinking. You understand? Of break into people's house, rob, rape, and kill people. That's how these people were. You understand? Who remember when you could walk one community to the other without being questioned by any gunman or militias member of any society because they weren't any installed security forces. And the only security forces then were the police force and the military. The last time I can remember, this was in the 1980s when the most hated man, Edward Seaga, was the Prime Minister of Jamaica. You understand? Back then, back then when Seaga was Prime Minister, no guy, no guy could harass you, ask you where you're going or where you're coming from. You understand? Because he made us safe. You understand? That's how it is when he was the Prime Minister. You understand? Yeah. So whether you like the guy or not, he did make sure that we were safe. You know, you understand? Siaga, the Prime Minister, St. Andrew Holiness, and the Jamaica Labour Party, LGBTQ plus, and the PMP LGBTQ plus members of Parliament are responsible for the decadent behavior on display in Jamaica. Gunmen killing people even in public. You understand? You can see they have no fear. Whether you like the late Michael Manley and Edward Seaga policies, protecting the Jamaican people from the parasites of Jamaica. Seaga make us feel safe. Seaga make us safe. Seaga knew where the troublemakers were, and he unleashed the police force on them, and the rest is history. Now, the Prime Minister, St. Andrew Holiness, has no business being a leader of Jamaica because the country is not for people who are sympathetic to criminals and have deep-seated hatred for the police force. St. Andrew Holiness do not like the police force. He's more for the criminal because I remember when he said that he's not into knee-jerk thing. You understand? So he's gonna fix it. Imagine a young person who joined the police force ending up doing the job of occupying power of the community, standing guard to make the residents sleep at night. And the worst part of the situation is that the gunmen are still killing people close to these police posts designed for the occupying forces. If anyone think Prime Minister St. Andrew Holness is the worst ever Prime Minister, it is correct. But to those comparing Prime Minister St. Andrew Wallace to the late Edward Seaga, I found the comments disrespectful, dishonest, immoral, and not based on facts, but partisan political comment. And the police officer know himself. He's my friend and my senior man because that's what he said. And honestly, I never liked that. I know that he's a little, I know that he's from country, so he doesn't understand the dynamics of how crime started in Jamaica because it's what JBC had told them when they were growing up. So that's what they still have in their thought process. They never experienced it. Suppose Jamaicans think that the PMP LGBTQ plus party is interested in reducing crimes or preventing crimes. In that case, I have a bridge to nowhere giving away on the internet because only fools will believe that they care about the people. The PMP never care about the people. All the PMP care about is power and power by any means necessary. They don't care how many people die. You understand? The only prime minister ever reduced murder by 50%. Yes, listen. The only prime minister ever reduced murder by 50% at one shot was the late Edward Seaga. And from then, the murder rate just keep going down. When he became prime minister of Jamaica in 1980, we have close to 1,000 murder. They say it was over 800, but it was close or over 1,000 murder because there was several people who were killed and buried elsewhere and all kind of things. Dump at sea, some of them were reported. Even to this day, people are family members who were missing from 1980 and they don't know where their relatives are. And they know that they are dead, but they don't know where because of what happened to them. You understand? The people, if they care about the society and our, that's the PMP LGBTQ plus party, then and even now. The Klansman Guard would not grow to become the monster in Spanish Town St. Country and was able to spread its wings during the reign of former Prime Minister P.J. Patterson and Peter Phillips. So, to all my friends and haters of Edward Seaga, you cannot show me one gang that grown when he was Prime Minister and create problem in Jamaica. The only thing that all of us knew then was Tivoli Gardens. But the Tivoli people, them, if you did not trouble them, you have no problem with them. So, you know, they went outside of their community and I don't know, and travel overseas and commit their crimes. Remember that it was the same PMP LGBTQ plus government under the leadership of P.J. Patterson, who handed over the capital of Kingston to the homosexual Donald Zeeks Phipps by getting rid of Peter and Foot Patrol Division and left the security of the capital to the criminals. It was the PMP that handed over Kingston, to the criminals. You understand? That they're talking about Dudus and Zeke's control downtown. Or if you have criminals control the capital, that's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be the security force. And the PMP LGBTQ plus party did that so that the same criminals can extort the business people in Kingston. What kind of government is that? You understand? I talked to an older man from Jonestown, Kingston 12, and he's a police officer in the United States of America who said that the safest time for him was in the 1980s before he migrated to the United States because Seaga criminal policies have teeth that bite. So here's a man who is from Jonestown, from Jungle, and he's a police officer right now in the United States of America. And he's supposed to be, because this is how he's supposed to think. He's supposed to be PMP right through. So you're not supposed to think no other way. I'm a PMP. You understand? And he's telling me, because he's older than me, that the only time that he felt safe growing up was when Seaga was prime minister. You understand? When Michael Manley was prime minister, he had to flee his community because the same people wanted to give him gun. You understand what I'm saying? To go and shoot people down in Rima or people who they wanted to shoot. So his mother had to send him away. But now he's a police officer in America. And he's saying that in the 80s before he migrated, he didn't have any problem living in jungle and Jonestown. You understand? Nobody was giving him a gun to tell him anything. So that was the safest time for him. But the people of Jonestown who said that this man is a laborer because they cannot think, everything in Jamaica is politics. If this man has 4 more years as prime minister, God help the people of Jamaica because the killing is only paused by giving the future victims a few more time to live a little bit longer. But eventually they will be killed. So the state of emergency and Zozo is garbage. You understand? See, I'm gonna never use any of that to fight crime because that is like occupying a community or occupying. You understand? It's like an occupational force. The funny thing about this Prime Minister, St. Andrew Holiness, gave reparation to the Coral Gardens, St. James, and Tivoli Garden, Kingston terrorists that have killed police officers. But the police who have been providing security for our ungrateful nation have to go to court to get what is due to the police officers. And it has been more than 13 years and counting. So more than 13 years now. The police officer has been working overtime, and this man, he's a young man, he doesn't even know history about Jamaica. But you see, he would placate to do anything to get the vote. You understand? So he had placate the Rastas who killed 3 police officers. You understand in St. James back in the 1960s before he born. He doesn't even know history because if he had known history, he would have known that these people were terrorists. You understand? But he's anything to make the criminals happy because he wants to vote. It's all about power, just like what Michael Mann did. He didn't care about the security of the people. You understand? If you are a criminal, you will love St. Andrew Holiness, as your rights under the Constitution of Jamaica is sacrosanct, and the police have none. Any police officer who regret leaving the police force is either a croft a professional thief, or a lazy person. Listen to me again. Any police officer who regret leaving the police force in Jamaica is either a croft, that means him worthless, he's a professional thief, that means he's a robber, or he's a lazy person. He's a waster. Because everyone I knew that left the police department is happy and better off and does not have to rely on others to help them to live a comfortable life. Finally, to the young police officers who did not join the police force to become soldiers, manning sentries, think of yourself as being used by a system of immoral people who are using you guys to keep down the numbers of murder victims. The time to exit the force is now and let the government outsource crime to their friends. Leave if you don't want to be a beggar or a thief because honest police officers do not have anything of value like a lovely house and car. A hunter knows when a prey is fearful, and the criminals know that the government is wounded by the various lobby groups and interested stakeholders in Jamaica who do not have Jamaican interests at heart. So they are doing everything in their power to make sure that these parasites increase the fear factor into the hearts, minds, and souls of the people by killing fellow citizens within the state of emergency. The murderers show the Jamaican government and the world that it's the the gunmen, militias in charge of Jamaica, irrespective of where you are living, sleeping or working. The gunmen, which are militias, because they don't travel in trees and stuff like that anymore. You know, 15, 20 man with rifle. You understand? They decide if you are safe or they are coming to snuff out your life. The security force can't do anything about it. One iota. And these gunmen know that because there is no so-called name-brand police officers in Jamaica anymore, these parasites' brazen attacks are a testament that the government in Jamaica is inept, dumb, blind, and pro-criminal government. For them to kill inside of the safe zone with the police and military, they only bolster their case that the government works for them, the criminals, and not the Jamaican people. When later Lord Seaga was Prime Minister, we did not have curfews, state of emergency, zozos, and all this madness that this government has been implementing. He had a robust crime plan strategy that worked. He had a police division with some of the best, bravest police officers, detectives, name brand police officer, special operation base that they call eradication at 230 Spanish Town Road, Kingston 11. Do you think that Miss Flo O'Connor or any human rights group could tell the late Edward Seaga for him to change the moniker of the police unit from eradication? He never bows to pressure from within or outside. And he was a very firm leader who believed that criminals should live in fear for their lives and not the citizens of Jamaica. The American government aided the government to restore Jamaica to the days when our women, elderly, children, Christian and others so and others could go about their lives without worrying about coming home. It seems like killing people is a regular thing in Jamaica today. The people have been desensitized that every killing, they are happy that it's not them. Can you believe you live in a society when somebody is killed, you're happy that it's not you, and and that make you feel comfortable? That is just crazy. People cannot live like that. Not even animals live like that in the wild. The Jamaican government, if they have any shame, they would allow the police to do their jobs and then disband this of state of emergency. I know for sure that it will get worse before it gets any better, which will never happen as long as these bossy slaves are in charge of governing Jamaica. Jamaica needs a solid and decisive leader like the late Honorable Edward Seaga, who would implement various security measures and make criminals know who the Prime Minister is. That's when people could sleep with their windows and doors open. When the most hated man was Prime Minister of Jamaica, the late Edward Seaga. When he was Prime Minister, if you killed one of his good citizens, If you do not turn yourself in when the security force comes to you, it's going to reciprocate. Or if you're convicted for murder, he's going to make sure that you're hung. The last time Jamaica hung any murderers was in 1989. That's when was Edward Seaga was Prime Minister of Jamaica. And because of his security crime plan that he had that worked for the Jamaican people for close to a decade, that is why I am naming Edward Seaga as the best Prime Minister of Jamaica throughout my lifetime. If anyone wants to say I'm a laborer, that is their business. I am just telling you the truth, and that's what I am here to report. The state of emergency, Zozo, and all those stupidness, that is not even a band-aid and a wound. That is just to give the victims, future murder victims, just time to buy time to live on for a few days or a few months. No civilized society is supposed to be living like this, where people have to be relying on the police and the soldier to be manning sentries and keep them in a safe zone as if they are endangered species to protect them from the parasites. Jamaica is not a real place. Jamaica is a criminal's paradise in the Caribbean. And St. Andrew Wilderness is the top pirate in Jamaica, along with Mark Wallen. None of the politicians in Jamaica love or like the Jamaican people. All they care about is power and what's in it for me and nothing else. If you want to know about how to make people, which prime minister make Jamaica safe, the only one that made Jamaican people safe, and the only prime minister that never signed or enacted any anti-police law was the most hated man, Edward Seaga. The police force and its member hated Edward Seaga because he was not black, and because he was not a socialist, and because he was not a bad mind person. You understand? He was a man that made us safe, the Jamaican people. And for that, I give thanks that I experienced living in the Jamaica when he was a prime minister. Thanks for listening to the Jamaica Young Police channel. Please remember to like, give it a thumbs up, share, subscribe, and most of all comment because I really read and respond to the comment. I wish you have a blessed day. Peace.